gentlemen, welcome to the 98th ever episode of the Dex Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Kellz.
And today we are not joined by Jimmy because, in the long run, I think we're smarty boys. You want to know why?
Why?
We knew that today we would wake up early in the morning and be hit with a big smacking dose of Pokemon news. So we waited. Congrats to us for waiting for once in our damn lives.
It's true. We didn't want to be behind the boat again a week.
Behind the boat?
Behind the boat.
What does that mean?
Tugged along behind the boat like a little inner tube.
Tugged along behind the boat?
Flapping in the wake, flipping around at every turn.
I've never heard anyone ever say that before. That is a great expression.
Dragged along behind the boat.
Behind the boat. Great. Anyway, we're here. we're reporting live from the Dex headquarters, aka our apartment.
True.
Jimmy's not here, but we wish him well, and we're both dying from weird throat problems.
Yeah. So I mean, if we might make this a tad, well, I mean, there's a lot of news to cover, but we might make it just a tad shorter. Just make it easier on our bodies.
We will not compromise. We will not compromise the quality of the show, but we are not doing the greatest that we've ever done. But it's a big news week. Anyway, if this is your first time listening, welcome. If you're on the Saturday crew over on the Dex channel, welcome. This is the official podcast. We've been doing it for 100 weeks. Isn't that awesome? You can go back and there's a link in the description, and you can go back and click and listen to all 98 episodes. We're getting close to that 100.
We are.
Getting close to that hundo.
Dexcast, Lunchcast.
Yeah. I still don't exactly understand how that's going to go down, but
I don't either.
I think it's great. Yeah, we're the Dex on YouTube. We're a Pokemon YouTube channel. And this is our weekly news podcast where we do fun stuff.
That it is.
So just to get started, how was your Pokemon week?
My Pokemon week is great. Something that I didn't put in the news, but I'm just gonna say because I was gonna save it for this now, is that Netflix just added season 2 of the Pokemon X and Y anime on. So there's like 48 more episodes of the Pokemon X and Y anime for me to watch.
That's like a lot.
I've watched 22 of them since they put it up like 3 days ago.
I think it was like yesterday that it went up.
I'm just like binge watching it because I just want to know. I want to be like caught up on the anime.
You're all the way halfway through it?
I'm almost halfway through it.
Damn.
I'm at the episode where, spoilers, Ash lets his Goodra go back into the wild.
Damn. Why? What does Goodra want to do? Go host a kids television show?
Nah, he was helping his friends. He was helping his swamp buddies.
Okay.
They were being bullied by bigger and scarier Pokemon, and Goodra was like, I'm big now. I can help you.
Okay.
It's important to him.
All right. Great. Good job, Goodra. You made it. You did it. What else have you been up to?
In my Pokemon week?
Did we talk about the plushies?
Oh my gosh, no. Okay, so
Are we sure?
Tamashi Roka. What?
Are you sure we didn't talk about it?
Did we? I don't know. But Tamashi Roka sent me a bunch of her old Pokemon plushies. She was trying to thin out her collection, and I was like, yo, I collect Pokemon stuff. Everything that you send will have a great home. I will even pay. And graciously, she's just like, nah, here's some stuff. And so I got like a bunch of cool Pokemon plushies, oh yeah, I think I did talk about it because I remember talking about the Gligar.
Oh yeah,
a really good Gligar plushie.
The perfect Gligar.
Really, really good one. That was one that I didn't know was coming, and that was one that I was pleasantly surprised about. It's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, it really does look like good. It looks like super good.
It looks really good.
But anyway,
thanks Tamashi.
I never imagined like a shiny, like not shiny, but like a fuzzy Gligar.
Right.
Hilarious. But it's like so perfect somehow. I don't know.
It's very cute. How was yours?
I had a good week. Congrats to everybody who competed in the Johto Classic. That Whitney's Milk Tank should be coming soon if you didn't get it already. That was a fun thing. I didn't do great.
That's okay.
Yeah, I didn't do great, but it was okay. I didn't get to battle as much as I wanted, but I had a fun time. But more on official Pokemon battling. We're gonna have some more news on that soon. But I had a good time, and I've been playing. We've been doing this live streaming thing all month, this Live Me situation,
right?
All May for like a sort of like a brand deal type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the time that I did like 2 like really big streams during it that were like a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And during those streams, I jumped on to Pokemon Showdown. And like told people, here's my screen name, come like watch or not or whatever. And we got a couple people who jumped in and a lot of people who were interested in just listening to me talk through battles and answering questions. It was a really fun time.
That's cool.
Obviously I'd like to do that like on a proper streaming platform instead of Live Me.
Right. Which hopefully we'll be thinking about soon.
I recently made an investment to that effect, so we'll see what happens with that. But I had a great time is the main takeaway from that. So hopefully we'll be doing some more Dex related streaming, or at least just some streaming from our house in the future, because it was fun. I really did have fun. I think the only thing that was a bummer was that you couldn't like mod the chat, so like weirders were coming in there and being weird. Mm-hmm. And that it was on my phone, which is like not tight.
Another weird thing.
Yeah. But I mean that's it for my Pokemon week, and that's it for your Pokemon week. So let's jump into the news. I feel like that one was a little weaker. I blame my physical state.
I feel like our bodies are a little weaker. Oh, ow.
Yeah, that's the problem with us living together, guys, is that like we
whenever
both
we
just
get sick, we get sick.
Yeah.
We get sick.
We both are sick.
Whenever we get sick, we get sick.
Yeah.
Hashtag we get sick.
We get sick. But it's June. And if you have been following along this year, you'll know that every month Pokemon has been giving away one of those sweet, sweet event legendaries. First, it was Mew, which I think we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But then it was Celebi, Jirachi, and so forth and so forth. And now we're in Manaphy Town.
Manaphy Town.
Manaphy is a pretty hard Pokemon to get. He doesn't get a lot of events, and usually he's in it. Like he's been coming from Pokemon Ranger, right? Or
yeah. Pokemon Ranger was like the only way to get it. Like they never have Manaphy events. So like, get this guy right now. Like wherever you're sitting, stop sweeping, and
stop sweeping.
Stop
Put
sweeping.
that broom down.
Put the broom down. And go to your 3DS and get your Manaphy, because if you forget to get this one, who knows when you'll be able to get him again.
Yeah, and it's kind of like missing out on 2, because if you breed a Manaphy, you get a Fion.
That's true.
So do that before June 24th.
Am I the only one that whenever I see the word Fion, I like think iPhone?
No, I think it every time. It's
okay.
Literally the word iPhone, just like somebody like smacked it and it got like a little messed up.
That's true.
Speaking of forgetting to get a Pokemon, if you did sign up for the Pokemon Trainer Club emails before June 1st, which like...
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, like everything has to do with this. So like
the Pokemon Trainer Club newsletter, like there's no downside. It's not spam. They give you free things.
It comes so rarely. It also is how we got the birds. So if you already are signed up for it, just relax. It's all good. But it's a legit good email. And every once in a while you get little bonuses like this, which is that there's a second chance to get Mew, which was February's Pokemon, in the form of a serial code. But if you already got the Pokemon 20 Mew, you can't get it again because it's the same event card.
But that's cool that it's just like you just get it a second chance.
Legitimately,
like if you forgot. Because I know a lot of people did forget, and they were like tweeting about it and like being sad. But like now you don't need to be sad as long as you like signed up for the email that you should have signed up for.
Legitimately, this is the first time that I've ever understood why they give you the little like card with the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the event card.
Because it actually is like a no repeat situation. That's how they track it, is to make sure that you haven't gotten that Pokemon yet. So that actually makes sense. But get your Mew, because oh, you know what? It's already too late.
What do you mean?
You had to have signed up before the 1st to get the Mew.
Right.
But if you did do that, which should be a lot of you at this point, considering how much we hyped up the birds.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't sign up now and get it, but like if you've already signed up, which you should have already signed up, if you didn't, that's on you.
So if you didn't sign up, I guess just tweet about it and see if there's anybody who got repeats, because like I know that I didn't do anything and I have an extra code now. You know what I mean? Like I didn't do anything to get the second Mew because I was already signed up, and so I know it's going to come to me, but I already got the Mew. So everybody who is like that, tweeted us with your code, and we'll retweet it out to make sure that some lucky person gets that code. And hopefully like you can't like use the code and then it's gone and you don't get a Mew. You know what I mean? Like hopefully if you're somebody who already has the Mew and you put in the code, it's not going to let you put in the code and not give you a Mew. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that we can share them and jerks can't take them.
No, I get you.
Oh my God. All right. But we're getting there. The 2016 International Challenge June Battle Competition has been announced. I guess every other time it's the International Challenge, which is sort of like a state of the metagame sort of situation. Does that make sense? So that's been announced. The contest runs from the 24th to the 26th, and registration begins on the 16th. So that's really soon. That's from today, which is the 2nd. That's only 2 weeks. If you enter, you get 2,000 Pokemiles, and this is for championship points. So this actually counts towards this season. So if you're feeling fresh, go bop into the International Challenge Battle.
Practice your VGC World Team Champion.
Yeah, this is going to be VGC 2016 rules, so go check that out. Speaking of June 2nd, though, today was the big Sun and Moon info drop part 2.
Yes.
A lot of people were talking smack on this drop.
I don't even care about them.
Yeah.
I literally don't care about them.
What?
Actually, I mean, like, whatever. That's not true. Let's just talk about the cool stuff.
What do you mean? You seem to
people talking smack. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people talking smack. They can just go live in a hole.
People who are complaining about something that's not even out yet. And just like based on their own imagination. Yeah, I know. I don't know.
It's a thing. But the info.
The info is good. A new trailer.
So tight.
We woke up. I barely slept. We woke up super early this morning. Around 6 a.m. A new trailer was posted to the Pokemon YouTube channel, and the Pokemon Sun and Moon official website also updated, kind of like it was last time, where it was like video here. And like odds and ends here. Oh my god, I'm gonna cough again.
No, I'll protect you.
It's hard for me to talk for long periods of time. First, a huge high-res image of the Alola region was shown, which is great, which now confirms that yes, Alola is made up of 4 giant islands.
Yay.
On the main map, it appears that there's a couple small islands as well, one in the northeast corner and one in the very center that looks like it's like kind of special in some way. On the official website, it says that one of the small islands is an artificial island. It's probably the one in the center. I don't know what it is.
You think it's the Elite Four? Or you think it's bad guy headquarters?
It could be that, but also I remember there was like that picture of that like resort.
True. Remember but I think that's, I mean, in the description of the other islands, I think it's on that island. On another island.
Yeah,
that we'll talk about like in a moment.
I know. It just like it doesn't look like super like, it looks more like a hospital or something than it does like a scary lair.
It looks like a facility.
Yeah, it looks just like a business park.
But like honestly, like if the bad guy team is like very like scientific and sterile, it could be like a bad guy headquarters.
Yeah, I mean like if you look at all the characters, they're all like laid back, like Hawaiian local type people, and like, you know, the opposite of that is like a stuffy businessman, so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they're trying to.
But the other tiny island, that's
what if
like
it's resort developers that are the villains?
That'd be hilarious. That'd be like another like nature versus development theme. But the other island, the other tiny island that's like up in the northeast corner of the map.
Teeny tiny boy.
It's all like shrouded in fog. It's very mysterious. I would love to know what that is too.
That's the one that has the volcano on it?
No, that's just a tiny island that has nothing that you can really see on it because it's kind of shrouded in fog. Maybe it's got some trees. I don't know.
I see. The island from before, from the first trailer, is actually in the northwest corner of the map. And it's like the smallest one, like of the big guys. Like it's like doesn't look that big compared to the other ones, which is like, that's pretty crazy. Like I don't know how big this world is gonna be because I can't like really like compare the like size of the routes to like the map.
Right.
But it looks like it's gonna be real big stuff. It has a very large volcano on it. There's like a stretch of coast that looks like it has like actual resorts, like Honolulu style on it. I would love to see some like mid-century American architecture there. That would be really awesome.
Right.
The largest island has a snowy peak that appears to be like a dormant volcano. And then there's like a very like classically Japanese looking village on the East Coast. It also has a huge walled in compound, which could be like something like Jurassic Park or Safari Zone or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's like these giant green walls, and then inside it looks like there's like some sort of like city or village or something like that in there.
Yeah.
But like I was like, what is that?
There's a bay with some little tiny guys, little tiny island hopping things. There's a rocky shore. Really cool stuff. And then if we go to the northeast island, which is on the other side of the map, it looks like this one has like some serious volcanoes action going on it. Not just one, like a couple volcanoes.
Couple like dark volcanoes that are like steaming, and there's lava.
Yep, and at the base of the volcanoes, there seems to be some type of like lava town folks, like some type of
some type of development. but I'm thinking it might be like a research center for the volcanoes.
Sure, it just looks like really close. Looks like a group of buildings that has to do with the volcanoes. Let's say. There's also an area of like pools, like tide pool looking pools.
But they're weird. They're like it's like a tiered.
They look like man-made.
They're circular and they're like tiered, and it's really pretty looking. I want to know exactly what that is, or if that has a relation to something in the real world. Because I looked at it and I was like, that looks really familiar to me. I wonder if that's like a landmark or something, like a natural landmark.
I still haven't like dug into Hawaii too much. Like I don't know that. I mean, I know I have family there, and so I kind of know it in that way. But I don't really know about like the history of Hawaii or like what's in Hawaii the way I do about California and like, say like Yosemite or something like that. I don't know like that aspect of Hawaii very well, but I wonder how much of this stuff is like references to specific stuff.
Right.
But finally the Southwest Island has like a strange like triangular monument on it.
This is the weird island.
Yeah, this one looks like it's like the old world island or something.
It's got like this monument with like this white platform on it.
Yeah, there's these orange rocks all over the island that like I don't know.
It looks like kind of like a mesa, like a mesa or something like that. It looks like almost like desert
deserty.
rock.
Yeah, almost deserty. And then there's a huge tree on the island as well.
Like a huge tree.
There's a big hole on the other end of the island.
It's like
some kind of big like hell pit of some
like
kind.
A dark black rock pit.
Yeah. There's also a floating dock city that looks kind of like it's on pontoons, like Pacific Log Town. This one looks like it's like the Maui or something. I don't know, like the like.
And there's like the least amount of buildings on this island compared to all the other islands. So like I wonder if this maybe is like a more late game island.
Yeah, or maybe it's like an optional
Safari
island or something. Who knows?
I feel like there's a lot of secrets on this Southwest Island.
But that's really it from the map that we can glean. So we move on to the people. It seems like you can choose from 8 character templates that vary in hair and skin color. We saw this a little bit before in one of the trailers. People were thinking like, is this like character customization? But it looks like maybe it's more like kind of like a choose your like race kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's just like a way to be like a little bit more
kind of choose
like,
your base model.
Yeah, like a little bit more inclusive with choosing the base models. But I think character customization might be something that was just like a Kalos thing.
I hope that putting a beard on my character doesn't make it look like a girl in disguise. But I don't know. I'm not. If there's not character customization in this game that much, I'm not gonna be like crushed by it. I really do like the outfits a lot, though.
Yeah,
I really like
cute.
the girl's outfit a lot.
Her shoes are like are little like Litten shoes.
Yeah, I love the dude's pants. He has like Litten pants. And I love that the girl has like tie-dye shirt. She looks like she's like going to like Coachella or something. It's a cool outfit. I might be the girl this time. I don't know. We'll see. Another thing is similar to Hoenn. Your character has just moved to the Alola region, which isn't always the case. And your neighbor is, even though it was the case in Kalos, right? Maybe not.
I don't remember.
Maybe not. Your neighbor is Professor Kukui, who's the younger looking professor that Jaywitz has kind of like taken ownership of. And he looks even more like a like laid back dude than Sycamore did. But Sycamore like kind of like totally was like a professor too. But this guy like doesn't even wear a shirt. He just has a lab coat on, like
his bare skin.
He reminds me of somebody who would like teach you something,
like a marine science teacher.
Yeah, like if you like took a field trip to like
shout out to Mr. Brown.
If you took like a field trip to like a sleepaway sort of like nature camp, he would be like the dude who like goes in the wetsuits with you or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Kukui also has this weird lab assistant called Lillie, who is referred to as mysterious and about your age and doesn't enjoy Pokemon battling.
She prefers books.
She likes books. She has like she looks almost like mean in her like.
Yeah, she's got a really like serious, like concerned expression, like she knows something.
Yeah, I'm very interested in her. She looks like a ghost.
A little bit, right?
She looks like she's from a different time period.
People have been speculating that she might be like a mole, like a secret mole from the bad guy team. Like
a that's I don't know why they would need that, but that's great. She's set to play a very important role in the plot. I wonder if they're gonna do like colonists versus like native people.
Really? I feel like that would be like a pretty heavy topic for Pokemon.
One time they tackled like ethics of like animal fighting.
That's true.
So I mean, race could be the next thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't think she's gonna be like a racist, but I just mean like maybe she's gonna be like, the
With
daughter of the boss of
the resort man.
Yeah, exactly. Also, we know about How. He's your new HAU. He's your friend in the Alola region. We don't know if he's really like the straight rival or if he's like, like Serena or something.
Like the buddy rival.
Yeah. Or if he's going to be like the douche.
Well, because, there's also going to be like the other kid that's like the base character that you didn't choose, like the girl or the boy.
Right. He's also supposed to have a sweet tooth, which means that he's always on the lookout for some type of Alolan treat called malasada. Now, is that something? Is that like a thing?
I'm not sure. I didn't look it up.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Let's see if that's like a. I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna see if that's like some type of reference to something. Okay, and it looks like it's some sort of So it looks like it's some sort of like Portuguese donut.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like my family is from Louisiana.
Yeah, it looks like a beignet.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be tied to, what is Shrove Tuesday? Mardi Gras? It's just Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess that's like another name for it that's in English, that's not in French. But basically, in Hawaii, the Portuguese donut has been adopted as like the official food of this day. It's the day before Ash Wednesday, which is Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. The idea of that day is to use up all the like delicious stuff that you're going to give up for the next 40 days. Well,
that's cute. I love that he likes those. That's like his thing.
Yeah, it's a nice little sweet tooth thing. I don't know what else there is to say about like people.
Right. Yeah.
But those things look delicious. And over where we work, there's a lot of Hawaiian people and a lot of great Hawaiian restaurants. So I wonder if we can
find some,
hook a homie up with some malasada, baby.
Ooh.
Some of that Alola
Lunchcast.
Those Alola Lunchcast treats. I would not say no to that. That's for sure. But that's really it for people. I mean, we learned some good stuff about the people really into the whole Lillie thing. I hope she really is important to the plot. I hope she's like central. I don't know if she's gonna end up being like a weird like legendary girl or what, but she looks really cool.
Yeah.
Also, let's just move on to the features. Because there's actually a lot of stuff feature related here, and I think that maybe I called it. I think I maybe called it with one of the big deals about this. One of the most unexpected ways that it sort of manifested itself, but we'll get there in a second. First, just because we don't know that much about it, I'm going to talk. There's going to be a QR code element to Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like there's going to be like QR patterns released, and basically what you do with those QR patterns is that you scan them, and then it adds a Pokedex page to your game, and then on your like mini map, which is the thing now, you now have a mini map.
Yeah.
It will mark where that Pokemon can be found.
Well, I mean, there's always been a mini map.
Well, yeah, but now it's like a more.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But I wonder if it's going to be a situation where it does everything but physically give you the Pokemon. Like, do you think it's going to knock it off your list? Like, what if there's a Pokemon that you don't have? Like,
I think it's just going to be like finding a Pokedex page.
Well, right, but I mean, like, let's say like there's like Vulpix and Growlithe,
mm-hmm.
and you only have Sun, and Vulpix is in Moon.
I didn't think about that.
Like, maybe it just gives you the Pokemon as if you have.
It like puts it in your environment somewhere?
No, like maybe it gives you it like, oh, maybe that's how it does it. But I was thinking like, what if it just counts it as you owning it without you having the benefit of actually.
That's not what it looked like in the little screenshot that it posted of this feature. It looked like you literally scan it and then it just gives you a Pokedex entry page.
Yeah,
and then you can go find it.
But what I mean is, does that Pokedex entry page check it off your list towards your like completion?
I don't think it counts as you having the Pokemon.
Well, because if you
actually have to have it, right?
What?
I think I don't know. I feel like it would be weird if it just like counted you as having the Pokemon.
Well, I feel like that's not that good of a thing. Like I can play through the game and not even think about it and reveal pretty much every Pokemon that's in the game in the Pokedex already.
Maybe it's just like rare Pokemon or Pokemon that don't appear in the Alola region normally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm like wondering how it works. I wonder if it's a thing where you can like, maybe it's just like a way to give someone a Pokemon. Maybe you can like turn it into a QR code and then give them that Pokemon. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Maybe it's like a one-time use, like.
It could be like tons of different uses.
There's
like, so little info.
It's like a trade without
like
using your DS.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Maybe.
I don't know. Or not even like a trade, just like a gift. I have no idea how it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of the minimap in the Pokedex, before we get into it, they showed some footage of the Pokedex, okay? And there were 3 Pokemon seen and 1 Pokemon caught, okay? So people have been theorizing about this because on top of that, it gave you a 1% completion.
Oh.
So the question is, if it's 3, and if 3 Pokemon seen equals 1%, that means that in the local dex, there are 300 Pokemon. Or it means if 1 equals 1%, that means there's 100. So either way, we're getting a substantial chunk of Pokemon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
300, I don't know if there's going to be 300 new Pokemon.
I doubt it. But the other thing that it said is the Alola region is like lush with many rare Pokemon.
Well, so that's what I mean. So maybe the 300 is not just 300 new Pokemon so much as it is like the local dex of the area has 300 Pokemon in it.
Mm-hmm. But I hope there are at least 100 new Pokemon. That'd be great.
I can't imagine that there's not going to be I didn't even feel light on Gen 6 with the 70.
Not really, yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's just because they did a better job of like mixing everything together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've been talking around it long enough. Speaking of the Pokedex this time, your Pokedex is literally a Rotom. You get a special Pokedex that's literally inhabited, like possessed by a Rotom. The Rotom talks to you. It seems to say on the website that it gives you advice on where to go next based on the conversations you have with others. It's likely to be a great help in any parts of your adventure. Which to me sounds like maybe I called it with the quest-based.
Like, that would be cool. You know what I would love? Like, the part that it says, like, based on the conversations you have with others, like, makes me think, like, what if you can do things in any order that you want?
That's what I'm saying. Like, straight up, I think what it's going to be is, like, quest tracking, and then it actually shows you, because this time the minimap isn't just a map of the entire region where you can see where everything is. You can literally see a map of the route that you're on.
Yeah, of your local area, and then it, like, follows you as you walk.
Yeah.
Which is so tight.
That's a huge innovation for Pokemon. So that means to me that these are going to be much more complicated environments with things that you might need a map for, because it's like pretty hard to get lost in Pokemon right now. But like maybe if they're giving you a map, that means that it's going to be
a little bit more like fleshed out.
Yeah. And just before we move on to the next thing, I just wanted to put forth a theory that I saw on the Reddit today, which is that basically, what if the Rotom, since it's a Rotom, like it turns into a bunch of different like it can take different forms, like the, Rotom could be Rotom Wash or Rotom Mow or Rotom Fan or whatever. What if those are all the HMs?
Like in Rotom, just like as your Pokedex Pokemon just like lets you cut?
Yeah. That
would be great. That would be great.
Because then it's like, like maybe the HMs, like, like maybe you just teach them to Rotom, or maybe like, you could pretty much explain any of them. Even like, there's no waterfall, maybe like the freeze one, maybe the ice Rotom Frost can like freeze a waterfall and you can climb it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
regardless, I think that would be a really great way to get rid of HMs.
Elegant because it like keeps it lore sensical, but like, it takes it out of your party.
How cute is that Rotom Pokedex though?
He literally just looks like Game Boy Luke. It's so funny.
I don't understand why everyone's like, it's Navi all over again. Navi's great. Number 2, Rotom Pokedex, great. What a great idea.
Everybody's a pessimistic hater who
I hate the Pokedex.
Worry about
the
stuff.
Pokedex is so boring most of the time. Like, why would you ever look at it?
I never open it.
If my Pokedex talked to me and gave me advice and like chilled with me, like I would love that so much more.
And
especially if it's like a Rotom in it.
And its little face is going to be on the bottom screen.
I know.
But I also love the little like paint look that everything has. And the Pokedex has a really good UI this time. It looks really snappy.
It does.
But also, don't talk smack on stuff in your imagination in public. It's irresponsible. It just makes everybody bummed out. Why would you do that? Why would you go online and complain about something that you made up?
Speaking of that.
The next piece of information is that our tip was hot. That Solgaleo and Lunala, those terms were like copyrighted or something or registered somewhere.
Yeah.
True. The lion is called Solgaleo and the bat is called Lunala. So that's huge.
Great.
Solgaleo is called the sun Pokemon. Is that real?
Yes, it's there. Yeah, it's really weird because they're called the sun and the moon Pokemon, but it's spelled SUNNE and MOONE, which I looked up, and they're just old archaic spellings of sun and moon.
So Solgaleo is causing a little bit of controversy online because he's steel psychic, and everybody was expecting to be fire because they imagined it to be that way. But according to the text online, it's honored as an emissary of the sun and is referred to as the beast who devours the sun. And its ability, Full Metal Body, means that his stats cannot be lowered by effects of moves or abilities, which sounds a lot like Clear Body, admittedly. But it also might appear, it might be like somewhere in between Clear Body and Magic Guard. Maybe it protects you from like burn, quartering your attack, and paralysis. Or maybe it,
because it says effects of attacks, and I think like the effects of a thunder wave is paralysis, and so maybe he doesn't lose that speed from paralysis, or he doesn't lose the attack from burn, or etc.
Exactly. So maybe it's direct and indirect. And it also has Sunsteel Strike as its signature move, which is literally like a move that has
Mold Breaker
on it.
Yeah, it basically ignores the ability of the target, which is the same thing that Lunala has with its ability.
Exactly. And speaking of Lunala, Lunala is the moon Pokemon, the emissary of the moon, and the beast that culls the moon. Lunala absorbs light and converts it into energy. And when it stores energy, its dark wings glitter like the night sky. Its ability Shadow Shield means that it's kind of like, which operates kind of like multi-scale. But it says a Pokemon will take less damage as opposed to your Pokemon, which means that it might work in doubles for VGC.
Which would be cool, because if it was like a shield, like a Shadow Shield that like applied multi-scale to both of your Pokemon. Like,
I like the idea that maybe they're like legendary versions of those abilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like everybody's complaining that they're like, oh, it's just these abilities, but it clearly says on the website these are never before seen abilities.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, like even if, well, first of all, they could be the same. They could be renamed multi-scale and renamed Clear Body. If they are, who cares? Those are both really good abilities.
But also, like, don't complain about stuff that you made up. Lunala is the Moongeist Beam, so that's the same thing as Sunsteel Strike. But I will say this: Solgaleo Steel Psychic, Lunala Ghost Psychic, very cool typings. But to all the haters, real quick, just for the Solgaleo haters who are like, he should be Fire type. This game is a disaster. First of all, chill. Second of all, the beast who devours the sun, okay? If we go back to what we were saying about Litten, if you look at Litten's face is the alchemical symbol for sulfur, okay? That is not a theory. Like, if you look at its face, it is clearly the alchemical symbol for sulfur. So we know that alchemy is going to be a big,
at least a thing.
Sort of like,
if not a big thing, at least
a design consideration this gen, you know? And if you go back and you look up what the beast who devours the sun is, Solgaleo's steel type is explained by the fact that the beast who devours the sun is an alchemical symbol for the purification of metals.
Oh, eat your heart out, haters.
Kelly was really emotional about this.
I got really salty today. People were giving me crud about like saying that it doesn't that Solgaleo doesn't need to be fire type. Like the thing that bugs me is that everyone's like, these Pokemon are supposed to represent the ideas of the sun and moon, and that's not necessarily true. Because they
totally.
I mean,
they totally
they're
do.
the emissaries of it. But first of all, like, just because the games are called Sun and Moon, like, just because the games are called Black and White, doesn't mean that like Zekrom and Reshiram like embody the colors of black and white. Like, they're black and they're white, but they represent truth and ideals.
To be honest,
whereas like X and Y, it's like life and death. It's not like I look like an X, I am an X, this is X, I am the X Pokemon.
Well, right,
it's just like a flavor of their design.
Right, but what I'm saying is like the sun is a much bigger icon in culture than just fire.
True.
And I think that by making it a fire type instead of a steel psychic type, it's kind of like this Pokemon's design is very specific. And if you look it up. Look up the beast who devours the sun. It's Solgaleo. It's like they're going for the sun in the sky, because I believe that a lot of the legends of the Polynesian islands have to do with like creation of the universe. Like a lot of their their myths are very crazy, like the Hawaiian myth that we talked about last time or a couple weeks ago, which was like about like how the gods are like left like our
like the
earth
bat that carried off
our
the-
earth is like the ruins of like other universes
Oh yeah.
that have been destroyed in the past, and that like octopuses are the only thing that are left because they look so weird. But like think about this cosmic, like this sort of cosmic setting rather than like an island setting, and I think that you're gonna find that it being a steel psychic type is a little bit more agreeable to you.
Yeah, they're much more celestial based than I think they are like hit right on the nose. And like, you know what the fact is that Solgaleo, the sun legendary, is weak to fire, and Lunala, the moon legendary, is weak to dark, which is like weird. Like in your mind you think like, oh well that's weird. But like it doesn't actually matter because like how does that offend you?
We also don't know if they have different forms. We also don't know anything about them. So again, real quick, don't complain about stuff that you made up. Okay? Because this is really cool, and if you just do a little bit of research, you'll find your answers. And I think like
that's the thesis of the deck.
Yeah, exactly. I don't normally harp on stuff like this, but it's like literally the whole reason that our channel exists is to like bring justice to things like Vanillix and Garbodor and stuff like that. So I really would implore you to be a lover.
Look it up
and not a hater.
Research it.
Yeah, be positive.
Learn.
I think we went a little long on our news today.
We did, but there was a lot of news.
So I'm gonna just say like let's not have a discussment this week because it's just
Yeah, and we were kind of discussmenting as we were going
yeah
along,
exactly.
Right?
We got into some testy subjects. So I'm just gonna jump over right now. Normally we do a discussment here if this is your first time listening, or a top 5 or something here where we just like do sort of extended conversation. But whenever there's news, like big new game news, we always kind of just like let that go out the window and just like go in depth in the game. And I'm glad we did that today, and we learned about some delicious donuts that somebody needs to give me some of.
Malasada.
Seriously though, give me that. I want that. So without any further ado, let's jump into the Fanswers segment.
Fanswers, da 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 da. Fanswers, da 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 da.
You know, every day I regret that I was not there for the recording of that Fanswers stinger.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there that day. I wasn't on that podcast.
What happened?
I was just not there that day. I don't remember what happened.
Why do you regret it?
Because I wish I would have been able to see
Like
it.
a piece of Dex podcast history?
I wish I wish I would have been there to hear him say it.
Great.
And to know that would have been on every podcast since.
I don't think anybody knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So if this is your first time, welcome to the Fanswers segment. This is the part where we read fan mail. If you have anything that you want to say about the new Pokemon Sun and Moon news, or you want to just roast me for any reason, or you want to tell us how awesome we are or whatever, you can send an email to thedexcast@gmail.com. That's THEDEXCAST@gmail.com. And the next week we might read it on the air. We get a lot of emails again. Ever since I started putting it up on the YouTube channel, we've been getting a huge amount of like a deluge of emails. So I go random. So don't be too sad if I don't read yours. But let's jump in. Whoa!
Bing, hey.
That was crazy. A little system sound gone haywire there. But this first email is from Freddie. It's called Postgame, and it goes like this. Hey guys, thank you for reading my last email. It was very surreal to suddenly hear you say my name. Hey, Freddie.
Freddie.
With Sun and Moon announced, it got me thinking about what I'd like the game to improve from X and Y, and to me the most lacking area from Gen 6 was postgame. Although the looker missions were tight, I specifically mean the battle resort style areas all the games have had since the Battle Tower way back in Ruby Sapphire. I don't think the Battle Maison was particularly interesting outside the Battle Shadowlands. These areas really live and die on how compelling their theme is, and I think we've had 2 really good examples of this so far. First, the Pokemon World Tournament from Black 2, White 2. It was the best. It was so good. Editorial.
It was very good.
It was really
very
good.
Cool.
This kept me going just because I was so pumped to win tournaments and see all the old gym leaders and champions again. And winning the Champions Tournament after defeating Steven and Cynthia, that's when you really felt like a champ.
It's true.
The other example is Battle Frontier, and with it being teased in Oros, I have to believe it's making a comeback soon. leading to my question. If you were a frontier brain, what would your gimmick be? For example, in one of the frontiers, you have to use rental Pokemon, not your own. Mine would be that all trainers have to bring in a Pokemon, not to battle with, but to give their opponent as a reward if they get beaten. Oh my god. Before any battle, both trainers would look at the reward Pokemon on offer and can choose if it's worth their while to put their Mon on the line for it.
Wow.
The rarer the Mon you bring, the more challenging opponents you'll face, but the Pokemon you stand to win will be rarer too. I think this would really up the stakes. Would love to hear your thoughts. Oh my god.
It's a pretty good, frontier brain gimmick.
It's like Pogs, dude. That's too brutal.
Pogs.
I lost some of my best slammers this way. And then I revealed my age. I love this. I don't know. The post game doesn't really ever hold that much allure for me. Like stuff like that's not having to do with competitive stuff. But that's just me. But yeah, I agree with you about the Battle Maison.
I think the Frontier's coming back in Alola.
Why the hell would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they hint at Well,
because somebody also took a screen cap of the a part of the map that has a building that kind of looks like the teased building from Oras.
Right, but what I'm saying is just why would they do that in Oras if they weren't gonna do something with the Battle Frontier? Does that mean, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
They're just Emerald is a thing, but we're not gonna give it to you. Why would they do that? My question is is that teased in Ruby and Sapphire?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Because that would
original Ruby Sapphire?
Yeah, that would make sense then. But if not,
no, because that whole Battle Island is not in Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah. So right, but I just mean maybe that's totally a dick move. But then that's such another good reason why I think maybe we're gonna go back to Hoenn.
You think?
Or maybe go back to Gen 6 in some way. What's going on?
I think it's gonna be somehow related.
The battle resort? Maybe it's the same resort.
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's craziness.
Well, what would your gimmick be?
If I was in the Battle Frontier, my gimmick would be that you have to use two of the same Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I would say. That would be my thing. You have to bring your team has to have at least two of the same Pokemon on it.
That's pretty crazy.
What about yours?
Mine would be I really just want Pokemon like Furret and Lantern to get their time to shine, and
cute
so
boys?
I think that it would be cute.
Sweeties?
But it's hard to say what's a cute Pokemon.
Maybe it's just your own personal list.
Maybe there's a stat cap limit.
Base stat cap?
Or you choose from my list of cuties and sweeties.
Cuties and sweeties list?
Yeah.
The cutie and sweetie brain?
Yeah. They're so cute. I mean, Lantern, whoever uses Lantern, no one, and it's sad. Because Lantern's adorable.
Some people use Lantern competitively.
Good. And they should.
Great. All right. This next email is from Zaichu, and it's called The Fun of Competitive Play. Thank you for that email. Thank you for that email, Freddie. This one's from Zaichu. Hello, everyone in the DexCast team. I'm Zaichu, not my actual name, of course. In the last podcast, you were talking about money prizes in Pokemon, and earlier about plans of making battle show videos about special competitions or VGC. I assume that you, well, at least Alex, sometimes take part in any Pokemon competitive-like activities, special competitions mentioned earlier, or just regular battle spot games. Here comes my question. How do you feel about current legendary heavy VGC rule set and non-legit hack Pokemon or descendants of perfectly lit 6IV Japan Dittos all over the place? Yeah, it is said that Nintendo tries to prevent it and sometimes even bans cheat abusers, yet I still can't believe that all those shiny, perfect IV or sometimes even perfect hidden power, hidden ability, or even legendary Pokemon are legit, especially when accessories like Power Save are so easily accessible. At the same time, it is very hard to compete without having legends with good IVs in current format. When I got my 3DS and Aura some time ago as my first 3DS Gen Pokemon game, I was really hyped about endgame and competitive breeding aspect of the game. When I saw how easily cheaters break the game to skip hundreds of hours of breeding and or soft resetting, and then often use it directly or indirectly into online play, I felt that my hours spent on making teams were wasted, my breeds worth nothing, and I completely lost all my interest in the online aspect of Pokemon games. I hope you will understand what I mean. What are your feelings about this? Thank you for reading this wall of text. Not a wall of text. It was literally 5 lines. Good luck in competition. I'm looking forward to your upcoming videos and podcasts. Okay.
Here's what I feel. I feel like it does kind of make me upset when I see perfect IV shiny Pokemon, because it's well, you clearly didn't work for that one. I think
it's a little arrogant.
Yeah. I don't like the fact that people hack their Pokemon, and I know that a lot of the very serious competitive players often will have their friends breed perfect IV Pokemon for them, and that's kind of hands-off situation, like don't ask, don't tell if you hacked it or not, sort of thing.
To tell you the
as
truth.
long as it passes the stuff, like, oh, my friend gave it to me. He bred it legit.
To tell you the truth, I think that the best way for them to get around this is to have VGC be simulated or faked in some way. Does that make sense?
You mean like everything just has perfect IVs?
I think the online battling, like in the game, should be based on the Pokemon that you own and raise.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, things with hack movesets shouldn't be allowed. But I mean, if the Pokemon is technically possible to get, I think it's unfair not to allow it.
Right.
But in VGC, when it actually matters, I think you should just be able to put whatever Pokemon you want on your team. I think you should be able to register and just do it.
You think so?
Because here's the thing.
I mean, yeah, the only way to like really stop it is to just like allow like all perfect Pokemon and like
that's what I'm saying.
You can be like, you use this Tyranitar. Okay, well in the Tyranitar that you're going to use in the tournament, it's just going to have perfect IVs.
I just mean there should be like something like the Battle Academy in Kalos, Battle Research Center or whatever, where you can just like build your team and use that for VGC, because I think that would solve the problem. I have no problem with people exploiting the mechanics of the game to have perfect Pokemon, because what if you are that person? What if you are that person who really did the work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then that's very cool.
Then it's unfair if you did all that work, thousands of hours, and you got your Pokemon, and then you're like, oh, you hacked. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But as far as the legendaries are concerned, like, I'm happy that they're in VGC right now, because we all agreed on this earlier that it's more like about it being like a passing thing, like a live metagame where they're just trying to shake it up for a little while, as opposed to like destroying VGC by putting legendaries to the forefront all the time.
Right.
I think with that, a lot of that's going to ride on how 2017 looks in terms of VGC rules. But I think it's going to be different than this year in some sense. But I like that's the best I can say. Like I understand like the feeling like you wasted hours because somebody just used a Game Shark, but like honestly, if it's within the rules of the game, if you're not giving your Pokemon something that it could never possibly have, like a Mewtwo with lock-on, Spore, and Guillotine, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I think it's all fair.
Here's the thing: hack if you want, but don't like exploit hacks to like get money.
Exactly. Don't sell hacked Pokemon. Don't use shinies. I think it's arrogant to use shinies.
Unless you just like happened to get it.
Yeah, but a perfect IV shiny is like the one thing you can't like really grind for. Because it's so unlikely that you'd ever have that. Not to mention 6 people Pokemon.
Yeah.
Great for online, and if they do what I'm saying, if they make it so that VGC doesn't require breeding, I think that would be the best way to go. And then shinies don't even matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I get that kind of breaks the like narrative of like training your guys and taking them to the championship, but I really think like if we're talking about fairness, that's the only way to be fair. If you're gonna feel bad about, if you're gonna feel ugly about people cheating, that's the only way to be fair.
I feel you.
Great. Hope that answers your question. Hopefully that wasn't too aggro for you. I tried it to make it a pretty respectful little.
It didn't seem aggro to me.
Yeah, cool. All right. So this next one is from Jared. It's called Gen 1 Programming, aka Why Kellz' Weepin' Bell Destroyed Erica. Hey guys, first of all, I love that Jimmy has been back recently. Ooh. A third person is so great for podcast chemistry, #podcastry, #podchemistry. Not that the Alex Kellz podcasts were bad by any means, but it's just nice to have Jimmy around. I like to hear that. Granted,
sorry about this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have him around again. Like, it's just an extenuating circumstance this week where we had to like do it in a weird time. So don't stress. He'll be back. Like he would have been here if we did it at the normal time. Remember a few episodes ago when Kellz Weepin' Bell cheesed Erica because the AI Pokemon kept spamming poison powder instead of doing any damaging moves? There's actually a reason for that, which has to do with how Gen 1 was programmed. Whereas wild Pokemon just use randomized attacks, Gym Leader Pokemon are programmed to be smarter, where they will use the attack type that will affect your Pokemon the most. Notice, it's the type that will do the most, not the attack. This means that Erica's Victory Bell and Vileplume saw Weepin' Bell's grass typing and were basically locked into using the attack type that beats grass poison. And the only poison move they have is Poison Powder. We have actually seen a famous example of this in Twitch Plays Pokemon. ATVVVVV, the Venomoth, went up against Lance's Dragonite, And even though ATV was severely underleveled, we won because Dragonite kept spamming Barrier, a psychic-type move that the game considered super effective against the poison-type Venomoth, even though it actually deals no damage.
Right.
Hope this sheds some light on the many quirks of Gen 1 and makes Erica's weird behavior in Kell's game a bit more understandable. Jared from Milwaukee.
Thank you for that. Somebody actually did notify me of that
we talked about
a little bit ago, but I do appreciate you explaining that because like I think it's a really interesting I think it's a really interesting bit of like Pokemon history is that it was programmed in that way and so that you can glitch it out in that way. And it kind of is like a testament to like how they kind of got smarter about making their games as things went along because like you'd think that like, oh yeah, smart AI, but then
right.
like you do have those bugs.
It just seems like something that they could have hammered out if they just had a little bit more time. And I wonder if in yellow version it's any different. Maybe I'm wrong. But thank you for that. Thank you for that, Jared. Next one is from Tourist Peter, and it's called VGC. It's
VGC Conundrum.
It's like VG Conundrum, but it's like VGC Conundrum. What's up, Grade? I'm trying to get into the VGC 2016 format and running into the same thing that's turned me off before, the difficulty of getting legendary Pokemon that are viable. Since good/perfect IVs are essential for lasting in VGC, I've been soft resetting, SRing, for legendaries with decent IVs, and it's huge, frustrating time sink. I've noticed that many of the popular VGC players on YouTube seem to rotate teams very often, and it seems like they have some method of getting Pokemon from outside the game. A debate could be had over whether or not this counts as cheating, since people who get Pokemon via some outside system are skipping a large part of the preparation process, but that's not really what I'm interested in. Do you guys think allowing legendaries creates a barrier to entry in VGC that's unfair? I personally feel frustrated by the lengthy time commitment and limitations. Certain legendaries are only in certain versions that I'm encountering while trying to make a team that meets the minimum requirements for surviving VGC battles, and it's discouraging enough to make me not want to participate in VGC. Excited to hear what you all think. Sorry for the long on my phone screen email. Not long. Tourist Peter, hashtag Dexcellent, hashtag Team Litten. A similar question to what we just asked, but here's my thought on this, right? For the most part, using legendaries without perfect IVs is not going to hamper your ability to perform in VGC.
Honestly, because most of the legendaries are specified for a certain role, and so they really only need maybe 2 or 3 IVs that are good.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it, but also like, unless you're planning to win VGC, you know what I mean? Unless you're planning to win a tournament, like I don't think that's going to be the thing that makes the difference. But this speaks to a larger sort of like situation with competitive sports, and especially something like gaming, video gaming, where like there's much less of a barrier. Like, so for example, like I don't expect to win the NBA championships when I go to a neighborhood basketball court and play basketball with my friends, because Kobe Bryant is that much better than me at basketball. Do you know what I mean? Like, right. I'm never going to be as good as Kobe Bryant. And the reason for that is that the reality of being a basketball champion is that like your entire life revolves around it, right? And that's actually also fairly true for the people who compete in Pokemon. Sure, like the only person that I really like follow on social media is Aaron Zhang, who's Cybertron, and he's a student as well. But like outside of that, he mostly just plays Pokemon. And so I think that deciding that somebody needs to spend the time soft resetting to get their legendary is a little bit ridiculous as like a reason that they're not a legit Pokemon trainer, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like if I was training to battle, I would rather spend the time battling than soft resetting for a legendary. And so getting a legendary Pokemon that's agreeable some other means is only advantageous to me. And it just kind of speaks to that idea that like the real world of competitive sports or competitive gaming is a little bit uglier and less romantic than the version of it that's sold to you as a consumer, right? And that's kind of what I mean. It's like the barrier between me and Kobe is vast, but the barrier between me and Aaron Zhang is not as vast, you know? And so you ask yourself, like, what is that barrier? I'm not saying he cheats specifically. I'm just saying like he's a celebrity and I know his name, so I'm using it a lot. But like, you know, I don't really mind. I really don't care. Like, it's the same reason why like you can't win a car race in your car because your car is not a racing car. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know.
I understand.
It's just hard. It's just hard to say. Like, I know that it's just like, well, that's not legit or something like that. But really, like, what is legit? I think you should be focusing on
Hashtag what is legit.
Yeah, I think you should be focusing on battling more than you should be on breeding, and I think that if what that means is that somebody's providing you with this Pokemon and you don't really need to think about it. As long as it's a legal moveset and stuff, like I say, as long as it's not actually breaking the rules of the game and cheating, I don't care. Does that make sense?
I understand.
Do you have a differing feeling about that?
Yeah, I never like hacking and I never like cheating because I just am light side.
I get that, but like, do you really expect somebody who needs to like win the tournament to just like sit there resetting for 100
No, I
hours?
think there should be a better system for getting them.
Right,
Just like, that's,
right.
That's
well,
the long and
right.
short of it.
That aside, like I can't change the way the game is made. But like that's what I'm saying. Like if there is a way that I would change it, it would be like you don't have to get your Pokemon for VGC. You don't have to like go get them.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no way to change it, I have no problem with this. I have no problem with people quote unquote cheating. Because it's just a matter of convenience, especially as like a guy who's almost 30 years old. The idea that I'm gonna spend like even me, like I play video games for a living. Literally, like my entire life revolves around video games. And even I am not cool with the idea of like sitting there soft resetting over and over and over and over again for my legendaries.
Right.
Honestly, if Pokemon was doing this right, they would make them all 6 IVs. All the legendaries should just be 6 IVs.
They're legendary.
Yeah. Like they should just have 6 IVs. They should just do that. I would like really love it if there was just a system update for Pokemon that made every legendary have 6 IVs. I would almost be willing to sponsor a petition. That's how easy of a thing that is. If Pokemon just issued a patch to the game that made all legendaries have 6 IVs, that would be really fair. Don't you think?
I think that would be fair.
And I don't think that's like a big ask either. You know what I mean? I don't think that's like a crazy thing to ask for.
Mm-hmm.
If that Xerneas that I soft reset for the nature suddenly had 6 IVs, that would make me a happy guy. And I don't think that's like unreasonable. I don't think that like that happening. I mean, I'm sure somebody would complain about it because again, there's always somebody to complain. But I just think like in terms of convenience and wow, I gotta stop letting that happen. I just think that's what the deal is. You know what I mean? I think that we just have to start thinking about it a little bit more. All right. Thank you, Peter. All right. What do we got? Next guy. Next guy. All right. This one is from Drake. Are you excited for this new exciting news? This awesome news that we totally got about Gen 7? I can't wait to use Mega Malamar. Parentheses. This is being written on Wednesday. I have no clue what the news is actually going to be. I've never used a Malamar in my life. Hi, Dex crew. It's been a second since I've fanswered. I don't have proper feedback for last week's discussment because I think the answer is clear and you all discussmented it pretty well. But something you said during a conversation made me wonder something. Since you were talking about Pokemon Company PR in relation to prominent public figures, and actually, let me just stop you right here because we were actually talking about last week the sort of like method in which Pokemon is revealing information this time. And whether or not it's a response to the leaks that have been going around that sort of like curbed a lot of our enthusiasm for some of the Smash characters because people were like, what? This is bullshit. And it's just like, sucks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. So since you were talking about Pokemon Company PR in relation to prominent public figures, have you guys ever been contacted by the Pokemon Company? Have you ever talked to them at length about anything, be it events, TCG, rules that you should abide by when conducting your fan content? Something you said during made me seem like you might have had contact with them before, maybe aside from the times when you were given TCG codes to distribute. Just thought it would be neat to hear about that side of your business as Pokemon YouTubers. Sincerely, Drake. P.S. In my dream I had last night, you guys and I were hanging out talking Pokemon. It was unexpected. It was unexpected.
I expected to have this dream.
I expected to have this dream, and I loved it. No, he said it was unexpected, but really chill. Yeah, okay, so to answer your question, no. I've never actually specifically spoken directly to the Pokemon Company. The way that this works, and I'm just going to give you a little transparency here. The way that this works normally is that Pokemon and Nintendo both jointly own Pokemon. The Pokemon Company and Nintendo jointly own. So, Pokemon, because I have talked to Nintendo before, okay? I've talked to Nintendo a lot of times. Nintendo of America operates almost autonomously from Nintendo of Japan. So that's like where that annoyingness comes from, is that Nintendo Japan, you always hear people being like, oh, Nintendo of Japan doesn't want us to do this. Similar situation with the Pokemon Company. The Pokemon Company is all about Pokemon. They're very protective of Pokemon. And they just want it to not get, they want it to be as high quality as possible all the time. So they're very discerning about what they allow to happen. So the only things that I've done in relation to the official Pokemon Company thus far have had to do with the Pokemon Symphony.
Right.
So that's the only time I've ever talked to them, and even then I wasn't talking directly to them. I was talking to somebody who was working on the Symphony, who was working directly with them. But in the case of Nintendo of America is also like much more involved with like official events, but then for like stuff like sending game copies out to people, they use their PR company, okay, which is a outside agency that just handles this for Pokemon or for Nintendo, because it's just kind of like a headache for them. And that's a different company than the one that Pokemon uses for their PR. So I have a good relationship with the Nintendo PR company, through which I'm a Nintendo ambassador, and that's why through Super Beard Bros, and that's why, in the past I've done things with Nintendo, and showed up at Nintendo events. Like I was in that Splatoon video, among other things. And I've gotten some games early, got Star Fox early to preview that, and that was fun. Yokai Watch, stuff like that. But with Pokemon, they have a different PR company, and they are the ones that send us the TCG stuff. And I actually think they only do merch and TCG, because when I did the one time try and get a code for Oros when it came out, I actually did it through Nintendo's PR company because they're the publisher of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's a big multifaceted sort of thing, and so it's not like you can just be like, let me talk to the Pokemon Company. It's like, let me talk to this PR kid, and they'll talk to the Pokemon Company representative, and then they might send you this, that. I mean, it's a big, complex system.
Whoa.
It turned into a spy.
You sound like Cate Blanchett from Indiana Jones 4. But in terms of like rules that you should abide by and stuff like that when making my content, there's not really anything concrete other than it's just any business. You gotta be respectful of like what the company's trying to do. You gotta be professional in the way that you deal with them, and maybe taking to the internet to like complain about something that you made up isn't the best way to win favor with the Pokemon Company. You know what I mean? Like people that are like recording vlogs that are like, screw you, Pokemon Company. Like, I don't think Pokemon Company is gonna be happy with that. But I honestly have no idea if they even know the decks exist. I like to think that they do, and we've been credited by them in the past, like during the Symphony, but I think that if they do know that we exist, they only do in the fact that they just were like, are they disparaging the brand? No. Are they family friendly? Great. And that's like, the long and the short of it. I like to think that we make high quality content and that we are respected in some way by them. But I haven't even met Masuda-san, really. I hope to meet him in this E3.
I do too. I would love that.
I don't know if he's going to be there or not. But hopefully, that'd be great. That'd be a great place to meet him. But hopefully that just gives you a little bit of a wind. I know it's like a little bit more boring. It's almost like what I was talking about the sports stuff a second ago. But like, I don't know. I know it's a little bit boring, but it's like that's kind of how it is you just got to treat it like any other business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to treat it like, that's pretty much how the games journalism world works anyway. It's just like, it's not like whining and dining people to get their favor. It's just like being respectful and like playing by the rules. You know what I mean? Like of like common decency.
Sure.
Like, don't be a jerk. Don't criticize the company for being evil.
Evil.
Like, there's a difference between like a bad review and like an unfair review.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a bad review or like a hate video.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not, I know people are always like talking about like, oh dude, you review that game bad and they're not going to give you another copy. That's like not true. Like companies never like judge you by the way that you rate their games.
Didn't Gerard rate like a game pretty bad recently that Nintendo sent him?
He's done it in the past.
Yeah.
But he was like the one who liked Star Fox, actually, which I agree with him. I feel like a lot of the people who were complaining about that game were like mad haters who were like impatient, or like unwilling to learn how to play like a rather complicated game. But that's just me. I don't know. It's just business, really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you guys, I don't know how many of the people that listen to this are like millennials who are trying to like run their own business, but I'm sure that you can understand what I'm talking about in whatever field you're in. If you're like somebody like me who doesn't have that much money and is like trying to be a millennial and survive, you know what I mean? I don't know. Just be nice to the companies that you depend on, and they will be nice to you in return. It's not about bribes. It's just about like being professional.
Right.
So hopefully that
a good life lesson.
Yeah, hopefully that shines some light on that for you. Let's do like one or two more. Next one comes from Teacher James, and its subject is ideas for Sun Moon Pokemon. Hi, Kellz, Alex, Jimmy, Wallace, and whoever else may be appearing on this week's show. I was at the gym the other day when I was hit by sudden inspiration for a new Pokemon. You had mentioned incorporating Hawaiian slang into Pokemon, so here goes. The Hawaiians have the word haole or howlie to describe non-native Hawaiians. There should be a wolf Pokemon named Howlie or something in Sun and Moon, and my reasoning is twofold. 1, wolves howl, and Howlie sounds like Howlie. Simple. 2, wolves aren't indigenous to Hawaii, therefore a wolf would be a non-native Hawaiian, or a, drumroll please, Howlie. You're welcome, Game Freak.
That's so cute. That's a great idea. I love that.
Also thought maybe we could get a new Sandslash evolution called Sansei who'd be ground fighting. Maybe.
Cool.
Anyway, thanks, Dexcast. Sorry for the long email. Wasn't long. Hope as always. How is it now? Go wear clothes. Fanswers, and other running gags. I love the show. It gets me through long evenings spent grading my students' papers. Teacher James. Love that. Love that.
Thank
like
you, Teacher
teachers
James.
are now the age where they'll just nerd out about Pokemon on the internet.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love it.
I've been waiting for this. This is the world.
That's like that's like a perfect example of like cool Hawaiian like incorporation of stuff that like, you know, like you may want to do a Pokemon that doesn't appear in Hawaii, and like that's a perfect way to incorporate something like
right?
that. So good.
Thank you for that email, James. Next
Well
one
done.
comes from CJ, who says, Fanswers, please? Trying not to sound too thirsty. Hey, everyone. New emailer, decent time watcher, brand new listener of your podcast, and I was thinking about how everyone thinks Phoebe is going to be from the Alola region, yet we seem to forget the wonderful 8th gym leader of Pokemon Black, White 2, Marlin. He's pretty much a walking stereotype for the Hawaiian Islands, and I was wondering why I've not yet heard anyone talk about him. He's dark-skinned, though that doesn't mean he's from Hawaii, though that helps. Is a rad surfer bro and specialized in water-type Pokemon, which we all know will more than likely play a big part in Sun Moon. So my question is, are there any characters in the games you think might be from the Alola region? Here are a few that I've come up with. Marlin, Phoebe, Iris, family could have moved from Alola to Blackthorn, Olympia, I thought I had more, oops. Anyways, keep up what you're doing. Hashtag, I don't have any good ideas for hashtags, CJ.
You know what? Someone actually tweeted at me earlier today a screenshot of Iris saying, I'm so glad I moved to the Unova region. And so maybe she did come from another region, or obviously she seems like she has come from another region before.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I mean, okay.
Who knows?
I don't know if they're intended for her to be from Alola this whole time or not, but definitely Marlin. Marlin definitely could be from Alola.
Oh, for sure.
Phoebe, like, is got that Polynesian look, and she's, like, family-based. And I feel like maybe, like, since at least Oros, that's been the actual plan with her.
Yeah.
I don't remember who Olympia is.
Olympia's that the one that we talked about last time, who's got the stars in her cloak, and
Yes.
she looks like the bat.
Yes.
She
Okay.
looks like the bat.
Yeah, maybe she's just really into that. Maybe she's like into the Alola folklore of her hometown.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I'm just all I know is that I'm very excited for Gen 7. I'm more excited about it than I was about Gen 6 even. And I was very excited about Gen 6. This one looks like it's going to be meaty as hell.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I'm really into that idea. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just eagerly await more info. You know?
Same.
So CJ, thank you for that email. Guys, it's been real. We've had a little bit of technical issues with this podcast. I don't know if you can tell, but we've been having to start and stop a lot of the time.
Hopefully you didn't notice.
But my throat is feeling a little bit better by the end of this.
That's great.
I'm coughing less.
Mine's feeling worse.
Oh, no. my throat's feeling a little bit better, so that's good. But thank you for bearing with us through this sort of crazy schedule week. But we wanted to make sure that we got the news from this week into the damn podcast.
Yeah, bro.
So thank you for listening. If you have anything that you want to weigh in about regarding the new news, again, please send it in to thedexcast@gmail.com. That's THEDEXCAST@gmail.com. And we'll read it maybe next week. Again, we get like hundreds of emails again, which is great, but also, makes it harder for me to read everyone's on the air.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been Alex.
I'm Pokedex.
And Jimmy is here in spirit. Thank you for listening to the Dex Podcast, and we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
I'm Jimmy.
Waiter man.